Following the end of the Fourth Ninja War, the Naruto world began transitioning to peaceful times that we currently see in the Boruto era, but like any good transition period, there are times where things don't always go as one would hope, and there are hiccups in the progress that is made. One such hiccup required the duo of eternal rivals Kakashi and Might Gai to team up to stop a pair of isolated shinobi from carrying out a massacre of hundreds of innocent people after one of these shinobi, Kahyo, ended up defeating 3 highly skilled jonin with a single attack. Grab those ramen bowls for today's newest edition of After Naruto Shippuden, where we take a look at how we got to this point and what Kakashi had to endure inside of this battle. One that would be the very last battle that Might Gai would participate in before Naruto became 7th Hokage several years later in the Naruto timeline. The information is given to us via the Naruto epilogue story, Kakashi Hiden Lightning in the Frozen Sky, which takes place at various points in the Naruto timeline during the first year after the 4th Ninja War, which was not animated into the Naruto Shippuden anime, hence the playlist is called After Naruto Shippuden. Previously in this story, Naruto is dispatched by the Hokage on a lengthy mission with Sai to round up the rogue ninjas who deserted the villages after the war. A lot of them haven't experienced Madara's infinite Tsukiyomi and coming to the conclusion that Madara is right about the shinobi world. One of these shinobi, a female kunoichi named Kahyo, who lost her son during the Ninja War because all the doctors in the Land of Fire were ordered by Tsunade to take part in the Ninja War as a part of the medical unit. She and her brother, her son's uncle, participated in a mass-scale massacre in the Land of Waves before Naruto and Sai swooped in. Naruto, using a mass of shadow clones, took out some of the rogue ninja. He briefly battled Kahyo, whose ice release jutsu briefly caught Naruto off guard in their fight, and Naruto chose to capture the leader of the massacre, believing that capturing him would quell the rebellion, especially as Naruto stayed in the Land of Waves in order to guard over it. Kakashi and Might Gai are both on the airship that's built by the Land of Waves, with Tazuna and Inari helping build the airship. In the time since Naruto prevented that massacre, believing that the capture of the Armament Alliance leader would be enough, Kahyo, who is wearing a mask alongside her brother, an ice release user named Rahyo, lead a team of shinobi to take over the aircraft once it's reached the air, and they confirm Naruto's not on it. The shinobi under her control, they posed as normal citizens and they planted explosive attacks around the airship and have taken advantage of the fact that while the ship is in the air, Konoha shinobi, they can't be sent back up. Her plan is to hold the people on the airship hostage, all wealthy people who are aligned with the feudal lord of the Land of Fire, hostages in order to apply pressure to Konoha to release the cult leader from the Armament Alliance. However, unbeknownst to her, as she is warning them that Naruto Uzumaki ever shows up, she and her brother will kill everyone on the airship the moment they get wind Naruto's anywhere near the airship itself. Konoha shinobi, they come out of the crowd, also dressed like civilians, and they do battle with Kahyo's men before she steps out the shadows and unleashes a devastating ice release jutsu that one-shots all of the jonin just by lifting a single finger. Kakashi watches from the air vent as himself and Might Gai are hidden inside of it, and he finally decides to act and reveal himself now that he knows for certain that this is the powerful ice release shinobi who Naruto mentioned his shadow clone briefly battled. Just after she rounds up the wealthy citizens in one place and places the incapacitated Konoha shinobi she froze in the other area and is placing women and children in another section, Kakashi and Might Gai strike with Gai having a busted leg and cast and all, while suffering from his infamous motion sickness on top of it. He's still ready to start whooping some ass, even though Gai is clearly struggling with his motion sickness. With the scene and the context being set, it's here I'll begin reading the relevant scenes from the story, and then I'll come back to provide you with extra information to give you full context. And so it's here I'm going to begin quoting. Gai vomited magnificently while fending off the attackers occupying the dining lounge. Several kunai shot out at the ceiling, one of them grazing the tip of Kakashi's nose. Kakashi fled to the other side of the ceiling. A lance suddenly thrust at the ceiling and ripped open his cheek. Down below, Gai vomited again. Wait, this isn't a lance, it's an icicle. No, it's an ice sword, Kakashi thought to himself. The ice sword ripped through the air and chased after Kakashi. Gai, get to the pilots, Kakashi shouted while running from Kahyo's surprisingly fast onslaught of attacks. Kakashi had to twist his body up a number of times to avoid the ice swords from stabbing him. She was relentless. Her attacks, they just kept coming at him like fangs sprouting up from below, and now suddenly they were in front of him as well. Naruto was right. This was no ordinary kunoichi. Kakashi quickly summoned his chakra to release his new jutsu, Purple Lightning. A pale purple tongue of lightning gushed from Kakashi's hand. Together with the sound of his jutsu, in a flash, the ice sword being swung at him vaporized and it blew him backwards. As Kakashi flew backwards, he continued his counterattack, shooting off a projectile bolt at her. The Purple Lightning, it was a new jutsu Kakashi had created after losing the lightning blade. The attacker narrowly escaped and countered, this time her ice release blade shredding the lightning clone of Kakashi, who was now inside of the washroom catching his breath. End quote. Now this is where it gets tricky and super interesting here. So Kakashi doesn't see Kahyo at first due to the mask she has on, and so when he's in the washroom, he does not notice that Kakashi wasn't the only one up to some tricks, because Kahyo is now inside of the washroom as well, and it's because she's hidden her mask and she's pretending to be the scared damsel in distress, building on her earlier encounter with Kakashi in the story where Kakashi was openly attracted to her. She pretends she's this damsel in distress and that she needs his help. She's following him through the air duct, allowing Kakashi to believe that his pursuer is elsewhere. She's getting information from Kakashi about him being a Konoha shinobi and that it's just him and Might Gai left. And when Kakashi is later jumped by 9 more shinobi, she takes the time to watch Kakashi's movements, commit them to memory, and she's putting on a clinic of what we were told is the role of kunoichi back in Naruto Part 1, which is, as the academy teacher told Sakura and Ino's class, kunoichi, they are to use their feminine charm and their behavior to hide their intentions and to play off the need that men have to protect women. They are to be the blade or the poison that nobody sees coming. And while Kakashi is off busy playing hero, protecting the innocent, while the explosive tags that Gai and Kakashi's summoning dogs have collected and replaced with less powerful explosive tags to create diversions, Kahyo slips the mask that she had hidden back on, and she fires off ice release to put out the fires that Gai had set in place, all while Kakashi begins to battle her brother Rahyo. Except her brother, after realizing that it was Kakashi, quickly gets Kakashi to surrender because he knows he can't beat Kakashi in the fight, and he does this by killing innocent people, starting with the mothers in the room to make Kakashi forfeit the fight, especially once the guy threatens to start killing children, because the jutsu will continue to kill innocent people that he's placed the seals on even if he's defeated. Kakashi watches helplessly as this guy begins talking greasy to him, saying, "You don't have the Sharingan anymore. I've got no reason to be scared of you." He even calls him, quote, plain old Kakashi, and he begins to start killing a few hostages at once every few minutes that pass by where Konoha has not met his demands. It's as the women and children are crying out that Gai finally has enough. He suddenly appears and he fights through his motion sickness. He's using his nunchucks, and Rahyo alternates between trying to target Gai's injured leg a few times, noticing that Gai can't put weight on that leg. And due to Gai's motion sickness, Rahyo is matching the intense sequence of taijutsu attacks where they're exchanging 30 punches and kicks back to back, and you got Rahyo being forced to reinforce his arms with ice release and release chakra at the point of impact like Sakura and Tsunade did to cancel out Gai's attacks. You got pianos flying, tables, chairs. The battle is heating up, and Kakashi's watching the whole time, memorizing movements, and Kakashi takes the opportunity to fire out Purple Lightning in the hopes of blindsiding Rahyo. But it's then that Kahyo, who's still wearing her mask, cancels out Kakashi's Purple Lightning on her own before it can strike her brother Rahyo. And Kakashi sees firsthand what Naruto meant in his mission report about this woman's skill. He and Kahyo then get into the fight while Gai is handing off her brother, with Kakashi managing to get the emotional triggers on her by saying that she's making the same mistake his friend Obito did by following in Madara's ideology, because like Obito, she had lost someone close to her heart. Kahyo gets enraged by Kakashi mentioning her dead son and him even questioning if her son would have wanted her mother to massacre innocent people, and so she ramps up the attacks on Kakashi. At this point, she's got a huge rage boost. The guy is using after images, lightning clones, he's blocking her taijutsu attacks, he's canceling out the increased ferocity of her ninjutsu with his own attacks, And when Kakashi points out that she's killing parents and children, this makes her even more unstable and more unfocused. And she's giving into her emotions, and at this point she doesn't care. She's releasing wide-scale ice-release jutsu to attack Kakashi, who barely dodges the attack because of how fast it's now moving. And her brother warns her that if she doesn't rein in her powers, she will take down the whole airship, reminding her that the passengers, they're expendable, but Kakashi's life is a bargaining chip. As the Hokage of Konoha, it is worth more than all the others on the ship. However, too stricken by her grief, she continues the ice release jutsu barrage she's shooting at Kakashi. She does damage to the ship wall, which causes a giant vacuum which sucks out Kakashi, Gai, and some of the passengers in the room. And once she realizes what she's done, Kahyo, crying tears, is sealing the wall itself shut, and she falls unconscious on the ground, her grief overwhelming her in that moment. However, in the blink of an eye, Sai arrives with a giant bird to catch the surviving passengers and Kakashi and Gai, and it's at this moment that Kakashi notices that the ship has been resealed, which leads to Kakashi wanting to confront Kahyo one last time, believing that the woman who seduced him earlier and was carrying around so much hurt in her heart over the loss of her son could be reason which, since she didn't allow more passengers to potentially fall to their death. This moment is huge here because it's the moment Kakashi realizes that as Hokage, he needs to take a deeper look at how the shinobi system is continuing to fail people like Kahyo, and he realizes grief is what caused two ice release users to level up to a point where one of them is able to hold their own with Base Gai, albeit this is Gai who has motion sickness. So had they been on land, Gai would have won that fight easily, and the other one, Kahyo, was able to put Kakashi onto a defensive, and that was before she got her rage in. Kakashi starts to come to the conclusion that Minato did, that the shinobi system, it is the true problem, and his next few encounters with Kahyo are what cement in his mind the idea of allocating resources of the 5 nations to start working for the public, start putting it into technology for services for the public to prevent more people like Kahyo from being made. There's a lot more to cover here since there's a more intense round 2 that is further on in the story, and there are still more passengers on the ship that Kakashi has to save, but that's another video for another day. But for those of you guys who are curious to learn more about what happens after Naruto Shippuden, click this playlist on the left for more videos like this one, or click here on the right for my new Mitsuri Kanroji video over on Anime Explained that you're definitely going to love if you're a Demon Slayer fan.